First, record, then Facebook Live. I think. Frozen. Great. Try again. Okay, it's okay. I was thinking I need to get more episodes on the podcast. All right, it seems like everything's in order. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Frozen again. Okay. Oh, it was waiting on me. I was waiting on it. All right. I thought this would pop up, but not. Okay, I decided to start today with, this was frequently asked questions. It was in the book, Good Parents, Good Kids. It is in the book, which you can get on Amazon. I'm not sure if it's on the website yet. I'll have to check that out. Okay, let's see. There, very much part of the foundation. Okay, shouldn't my children be respectful to me first? Oh, let me just explain one quick little thing. The blue words, letters, phrases, whatever, are links. So this book, if you do get it on Amazon, you can jump around however you like according to the links. Okay. Oh, no. Shouldn't my children be respectful to me first? Don't I deserve their respect? Now, this comes out because it's most common for adults to expect and demand that their children be respectful to them. Here is my answer. That would be good, wouldn't it? However, what I offer you is almost that good. In fact, really, it is much better. It's like asking that your child be born speaking whatever language you speak. You might like it, but that is not how it goes. Children learn from us. You be respectful to them from the beginning, and they will automatically be respectful to you. You do deserve it. You mean I can't tell them what to do? For sure, you can tell them what you want them to do. If they don't want to, maybe when you explain why, they'll agree. If not, oh, this was a process that I used in those days, I would say now, instead of end conflict now, I would say just use the one rule and find a solution that you both like. Why are you against punishment? Punishment causes pain. It is so much more effective to explain, to educate, to create understanding. Also, I would say make sure that you are being a model of whatever it is you're asking for, that you're walking your talk, as is said. If the win-win solution, or now I would say the agreed upon solution, is to fix what they caused to go wrong, this helps ensure that the behavior is not repeated. That's the goal of punishment, right? That the behavior is not repeated. Why not get to that goal in ways that are agreeable to all involved? What about logical and natural consequences? This is another approach to raising children. Natural consequences are just that, natural. I may or may not allow the natural consequences to play out. It depends on what I want to do. Nowadays, I would say, well, we'll use the one rule and see what comes up. Logical consequences seem like a type of punishment. They do to me. They have to be created. They don't happen naturally. And they result in suffering for the genuine child is not the model. Certain people would feel good if you were going to bring that along. Then when they experience the goal for themselves, they might want to put the jacket on. If this is of you, use the one, find a solution that works for both of you or all of you about wearing the jacket. What if they don't do what I tell them to do? What then? If they already agreed to do something, ask them why they didn't do it. They may have good reasons for not doing it. They may have forgotten about it. They may be planning to do it at a later time, but didn't tell you about that. They misunderstood you and did what they thought you meant. You may have said one thing, but meant something different, and they already did what you said. In any case, make sure that you come to mutually agreeable solutions. That's the basis for this whole thing, and the key to harmony and peace, and having love flow easily between family members. What if I'm afraid to trust my child's judgment? You may have good reasons for this. However, you can move from where you are to where you want to be, trusting them because they've proven themselves trustworthy. You could start with small, safe situations. Discuss this process with them. Tell them you want to be able to trust their decisions. Make sure they agree that this is a good idea. Now you can both learn what you need to learn. They can learn to be trustworthy, And you can learn to trust them. You both need practice. Keep this going. It might be more effective, though it might be more difficult for you, to start with something that means a lot to your child. Discuss it thoroughly. Make sure you both understand how you want it to go. They are likely to make their greatest efforts to be successful if it is something they want to happen. Eventually, you'll be able to trust them, and they'll prove themselves worthy of that trust. Then, even if things don't go as you both intended, you'll both know that they've done their best to be trustworthy, and there is no reason to stop trusting them. What is the importance of respect in raising children? I think respect is present a lot more than it was when I was raising my children. It was practically unheard of, maybe almost entirely unheard of. But now with conscious parenting and things like that, it's a lot more present. And so slipping into using the one rule should be super easy for a lot of people. And it's powerful and it works all the time. And it ensures that you keep the good relationship going. Okay. Let's, I'm gonna get back to this question. Okay. What is the importance of respect in raising children? What is that about? If you develop the habit of making respect your foundation in relating with your children, then you don't do anything that is less than respectful. This makes children feel safe and important. This allows them to keep their inner strength and helps them make the best of whatever comes their way. Most of all, it allows the love that a parent feels for their child to reach that child so that that child can feel loved. There may be other ways for this to happen, but this is one way that works. Okay, why focus on respect instead of love? Love is there. Love is given. Unfortunately, when punishment is one of the common ways that parents relate to children, this does not feel like love to the children. The children do not feel safe, important, and loved. They are loved, but they don't feel loved. It is so that children feel loved at all times that we focus on respect. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to continue with the stories that I've gathered from the book Parenting for the New Millennium, which is, it's not actually my first book. It's like the third version of my first book, but it is the one that's available. There are almost no copies around of the original first book. Anyway, so Errands with Baby. So these are all examples of dealing harmoniously with children, even before long before the one rule came around. So you can see that the foundation is basically the same. It doesn't mention the one rule, but the way of interacting is the same. Errands with baby. It's been a busy morning. So many errands to do. One advantage of living in a small town is that all the shops are within easy walking distance. Terry has been so patient, content to sit in her stroller and watch life unfold. I need a drink of water. Of course, the snacks and juice her father Dean brought along have helped a lot. When they stop in front of a pet store so that her father can chat with one of his friends, Terry starts to climb out of her stroller. She's never belted in anymore since she started crying every time her parents tried to fasten the belt. Dean notices what she's doing. Terry, we're not done with our errands yet. Please get back in your stroller. He bends over to help her in. Terry twists to avoid getting in and leans away from the stroller. Out, out. Dean lets go of her. She's been very cooperative this morning. I guess I'll have to follow her good example and be a good cooperative example myself, he says to his friend. Terry runs over to look at the puppies in the window. Her father moves close to her as he continues to talk with his friend. Then his friend leaves. Okay, Terry, let's go. Terry runs in through the open door of the store. Inside, there are kittens, more puppies, birds, mice, rats, hamsters, fish, and bunnies. Daddy, Daddy, look! Her father sees the delight and wonder on her face. He still has a couple of errands to do before they head for home. He has a lot of editing to do that afternoon before his article is ready to mail. He watches the concentration on his daughter's face as she watches the mice scurry around their mouse house. What's another 5 minutes? Or even 15? Even half an hour wouldn't really be a problem. Let her have her errand too. After 10 minutes, Terry comes over to her father. Up, Daddy, I'm hungry, tired, no stroller. Just a second, Terry. He puts packages in the stroller and then picks up his daughter. She hugs him and snuggles her face against his neck. We don't have any more snacks with us, but let's get you an apple at the corner. Then I have 2 more stops and we can go home and have lunch. It feels so good to hold this sweet, loving child, to have her trust and affection. At the corner, Terry picks out the apple she wants. Her father gives her the money to pay for it. Climb into your stroller and I'll cut up this apple for you. After she's settled with her thinly cut apple slices. Let's go. You can help me with my last 2 errands. Oh, look at all the flowers. He is hoping that the apple, his conversation, and involving her in his errands will be enough to keep her awake until after lunch. Then it would be great if she took a nice long nap. I decided I'm going to skip this story. If you want to read it, you can get my book. It's on Amazon. It's in the Kindle, and I think this one you can get a paperback. The Napless Morning. Natalie has so much to get done this morning and was counting on using the time that Molly naps in the morning to finish most of it. Now it's her nap time, but Molly is not napping. In fact, she seems quite full of energy. Okay, it's not time to get frustrated. It's time to think of alternatives. She decides to put Molly in her swing. Maybe that will keep her occupied. It works for a while. Then Molly starts to complain. Natalie doesn't want to take the time to put Molly down for a nap until she's sure that Molly is really tired. She hands Molly her cup and a small wooden spoon. That interests Molly for a while. Then Molly drops the cup and lets her mother know that she does not want the cup to be on the floor. Natalie quickly picks up the cup and returns to her work. Molly drops it again and calls out to her mother. This time, Natalie picks it up, puts some juice in it, and puts the lid on it before she returns it to Molly. Molly seems glad to have the juice, but after she finishes it, she again drops the cup, and this time the spoon too. Natalie picks up the spoon and the cup and puts them on the counter. Molly complains, but her mother hands her a rubber spatula and a funnel. When Molly immediately drops them on the floor, her mother realizes that Molly will continue to do this and she will not get her work done. She takes Molly out of her swing, puts her down in front of the cupboard of plastic bowls and containers, and opens the door so Molly will have immediate and easy access. She decides she'd rather pick up all the containers and bowls and get her work done if this satisfies Molly. Molly loves the things in this cupboard. When she starts to get bored and complains again, her mother brings her the container of wooden utensils. This keeps her contented for quite a while. Then Molly gets tired. She's done with her exploring and easily goes to sleep. She had a satisfying, productive morning, and so has her mother. Car seat-itis. I just read about this too. I wrote this a long time ago, of course, but I just read about this in a Facebook group that I belong to. Tiffany couldn't understand it, but ever since Jade was tiny, she cried every time she was put in her car seat. If Jade was asleep when she was put in, she would wake up and cry. Tiffany asked the pediatrician, her naturopathic doctor, other mothers, but no one could figure out what was causing this. No other mothers that she knew had this problem, had this experience with their babies. In fact, it seemed that other babies often went to sleep while they were in cars. It was just one of life's mysteries. I think this is just for information for anybody. If you have this situation or if you know of someone who does, in the Facebook group, I think they were talking about chiropractors who are infant qualified or newborn qualified, and they can make adjustments that sometimes things are out of alignment. and an adjustment can fix this. But I didn't know anything about that. So, but I wanted to share that with you. Since Tiffany was a single parent, she could not have her partner do the driving while she stayed home with Jade. She was determined to be a respectful parent, so she could not just let Jade cry. She had figured out various ways of coping with this situation. Sometimes she walked with Jade in a carrying pack. Sometimes friends would shop for her, or a friend would stay with Jade while Tiffany shopped. Occasionally, she would have someone drive her when she was going on a trip, and she would hold Jade in the carrying pack, but she didn't take many trips. In all other ways, Jade seemed a happy, healthy baby. From time to time, Tiffany tries to put her in the car seat, but so far, Jade still cries. Her mother has decided that it is not a serious hardship to accommodate this apparent need of her daughter. Everything else is fine, and it seems that every parent has some unexpected or unexpected problem with their children. She even finds herself being thankful when she meets parents who have more serious problems with their children. Mama loves movies. Rachel was very used to taking her infant son to the movies. Certainly, there were theaters that would not allow an infant in the theater, which limited her selection. It was not a serious hardship. If she really wanted to see one of those movies, then she and her husband went separately. She never wanted to leave Michael with a babysitter, and she had no friends or relatives who had the same respectful attitude toward babies that she had. Once, when she was very sick, she had left Michael with one of her best friends. Later, she found out that he had cried for a long time, but her friend thought it was more important for Rachel to rest than to be bothered with Michael. Her friend said it was no problem for her. She did not mind when a baby cried. Rachel knew then that she must carefully screen anyone who cared for him. So far, she'd found no one. Yeah, I could relate to that. If Michael didn't take his afternoon nap, then she and her husband would go to the early show. If he did, they would go to a later show. This usually ensured that he would sleep through the movie. She would nurse him if he awoke, and it had never been a problem. But tonight, when he woke up, she nursed him and he went back to sleep, but only for a little while. When he woke up again, he was crying. For the first time, she rushed with him out into the lobby. She did not appreciate parents who stayed in the theater with a crying baby, so she did not want to be one of those parents. After a few minutes of walking around, Michael went back to sleep and Rachel returned to her seat. Soon, he awoke again and started to cry. This time, his father offered to walk with him. "No, honey, I'll go. Later, you can tell me about the parts I've missed." After Michael went back to sleep, Rachel found a seat near the door in case he woke up again. Then she could get him out quickly without disturbing the other viewers too much. She knew after this she would have more compassion for parents who had babies who cried in the theater. Although she hoped that Michael would return to sleeping peacefully through the movies, she had already started thinking of how to work with this new situation. The new friend. April is packing up Alexandria's things: diapers, finger food, fresh juice, toys, cups, so many things for such a little person. She is going to visit a new friend, and she almost always takes Alexandria with her wherever she goes. April met Louise at a mutual friend's. They seemed to have so much in common. They decided to get together soon. When they entered Louise's home, April realizes that there could be problems. Inside Louise's home are oriental carpets, antique furniture, fine statues, delicate vases, and other beautiful examples of china and glassware. It is definitely not Babyland. This is especially true for Alexandria, who has just started walking and loves to explore everything. April realizes there is no way to move it all out of Alexandria's reach. April realizes that Alexandria will not be able to resist touching whatever she can reach. She's at the stage where she has to touch everything that draws her interest, not just touch it, but to explore it as fully as she can. April decides to discuss this with Louise immediately. Louise, could we go into the kitchen or the laundry room or somewhere Alexandria won't do any damage so we can decide how to proceed? Oh, don't worry. She can sit on our laps. I'm sorry, but I'm sure that won't work. If we can go somewhere safe, I will explain the situation to you. At the moment, I feel very nervous. Alexandria wants down, and that could prove disastrous. Certainly, if that is what you would like, we can go into the kitchen. Thanks, Louise. Now I can relax. You see, Alexandria has just started walking. She would not be content to sit anywhere. Her waking time is spent walking and exploring. At home, we have things arranged so she can do this without damage to herself or our things. When we visit other people's homes, we move things around a little, block off the stereo set, move a few breakables, and then everyone can relax. Here, that would not be possible. I understand what you mean. Not having children myself, I had no appreciation of the situation. There is a large garden in the back. We could go there. There's a patio where we could sit and a rather large lawn adjacent to it. That would give Alexandria plenty of room to move about, and there's a lot to explore. It sounds good, but what about the flowers? You think she might do some damage there? Well, there are many beautiful flowers right now, but I think it's worth a try. We can both watch her, and if necessary, we can come back to the kitchen. That sounds fine to me. I think you should know that I usually bring Alexandria with me wherever I go, but I'm thinking that when I come here, maybe I should make other arrangements. She seems to be a charming baby. Let's see how this first visit goes, and we can discuss it later. Perhaps I could arrange a room where it would be possible to entertain you both. I could certainly purchase some toys to entertain her outside. Then they would be available whenever a little one came to my home. You must tell me what you think of that idea. This sounds to me like the beginning of a great friendship. He wants to dress himself. Miriam has always chosen Leland's clothes and helped him get dressed. It has never been a problem unless he wasn't ready to be dressed. Today, when she entered his room, she found clothes all over the floor with Leland sitting in the middle of them. He had underpants on, backwards. He has one blue sock on and one red sock on. He was trying to put on some pants. Can I help you, Leland? No. Miriam stands in the door watching. She knows that it is important to let him do as much for himself as he wants. I have to go into the office today. My boss is having a meeting and grandmother is waiting for you. Would you like me to put your clothes in their drawers? No, I do. Well, I came to help you get dressed. Breakfast is ready. We have to go very soon. I dressing, you go. All right, I'll go for now, but I'll be back soon. She knows how important it is to be patient and cooperative if she wants to encourage the development of those qualities in him. There's probably time for him to get dressed, but if he wants to put his clothes back in the drawers, that will have to wait until later. If he takes too long, he will have to have breakfast at his grandmother's. When Miriam returns, Leland has put his pants on, but has not been able to fasten them. He's trying to figure out the t-shirt. Leland, may I show you how to fasten your pants? Yes, you show. Miriam shows him clearly and precisely how to fasten the hook and how to pull up the zipper. Would you like me to show you how to put on your shirt? I can show you which hole your head fits in. Yes. He hands her the t-shirt. Miriam holds the t-shirt up against herself so that he can see its shape clearly. Pointing, she says, "This is the hole for your head." Then she scrunches up the shirt so that he has easy access to the neck hole. She hands it to him. I do. He puts his head through the hole and pulls down the t-shirt. Now you go. After a few minutes, Leland comes beaming into the kitchen, shirt on backwards, but fully dressed, except for shoes, and ready for breakfast. There is still time for breakfast, but Miriam realizes that she is now going to have to figure time for this self-dressing into her time schedule. She decides not to mention the backward shirt. He is too happy with his accomplishment, and she doesn't want to take a chance of spoiling it for him. She must remember to tell her mother not to mention that his dressing efforts are not perfect. Next time, she can show him how to make sure the front is in the front. After breakfast, Leland, we have to go, so I won't be late. When we get home, I'll clean up the kitchen and you can put your clothes away. But now we have to go. Do you want to get your shoes? Yes, I get. Miriam finds it very exciting to watch Leland's changes, very challenging to be respectfully helpful, and very rewarding altogether. Oh my goodness. This is a long story. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to see about doing this introductory slideshow. I separated it out from the show, even though I left this. Welcome to Karen Ryce's Raising Happy Kids Zoom show. Intro to creating peace and harmony with the one rule. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You found agreement. You found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. The one rule starts strong. You have decided that you really want harmony with your child. That sounds so good, right? Everyone feeling good and getting along. You've decided that you do not want to make your child do what they do not want to do. And you do not want to do what you do not want to do. And you are going to make this work. You have decided that you want to use the one rule to make this happen. This is going to become your new habit. You remember that when you use the one rule, you are sharing the following messages with your kids. I want us all to be happy. We are each important. Together we can solve our problems. I believe in you. I love you. To create this new habit, you're going to start with yourself and what you want. You decide that you are going to let how you feel about a situation determine whether you agree with it or not. If it feels good, then you can agree with it. If not, you cannot. Think about a situation. Ask yourself, is this situation okay with me just as it is? If yes, your work on that is done. If no, what would have to change, be different, so that I could feel good about it? Maybe several versions of this situation would feel fine with you, maybe only one. This exercise, this practice, helps you make a habit of following the one rule, no matter what age your kids are. This exercise helps ensure a strong start and makes following the one rule so much easier. Here is an understanding that might make following the one rule even easier. Recently, I asked myself a question. What do I want people to feel when they're connecting with my work? I definitely want them to feel good about themselves. Then the following answer appeared, to my surprise and delight. I want people to realize that they are already using the one rule. That understanding surprised me, and as more and more of it was revealed to me, it delighted me. Of course, people are already using the one rule. I am not teaching them anything they don't know. I am not teaching them anything strange to them. I'm just helping them expand their use of something they use daily without thinking about it. They use it. You use it. Every time you come to a decision inside of yourself, you are using the one rule. Most likely, you had to consider several options or possibilities to reach that decision, even if it just took you a few seconds for you to agree with yourself. That is what I want. That is what I'll do. You also use the one rule whenever you agree with someone else. Together, you come to a decision, an agreement. Yes, tomorrow I'll go to the auto parts store before I go grocery shopping. Even with your kids, you're using the one rule. You're coming to agreements. Think about it. Of course you are. You are just not thinking of it as a rule, as something required. So at times you're not coming to agreement. I'm here to help you think of coming to agreement as required, as a rule, as the one rule. You just expand the situations where you come to agreement until coming to agreement is just what you do and your kids do. It is the rule you and your kids follow. When you use the one rule, you are creating harmony. Your kids are creating harmony. You are becoming used to creating harmony, familiar with how good it feels to everyone involved. One point to be clear on is that even if a situation seems complicated and it's an important rule to your kids, actually originates from the first time the children introduced me to it. So they could understand what we were doing. I told the two little girls 3 things. 1, you are each important. Point to each person involved. You are important and you are important. And if it's your problem too, I am important. 2, you or we each deserve to feel good. 3, we can use the one rule to find a solution that feels good to each of you or each of us. Then tell them what the one rule is. When you actually start working with your kids using the one rule, helping them follow their interests is one of the easiest ways for you to start. That makes sense, right? It is also one of the most beneficial things you can do for your kids. Why is it good for your kids to do what interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony, inner harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they're interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. It doesn't mean that everything that interests our kids is going to always interest them. They may be interested for their lifetime, or even for 10 years, or only 10 days or 10 minutes. The point is that they are following their interests, not the specific thing or experience that interests them, or the length of time it interests them. So if they ask for your help, please help your kids follow their interests. If for any reason you really do not want to do what they're asking you to do, that is a perfect time to use the one rule. Another reason for helping your kids follow their interests is one that is taking care of you too. When they are eager to do something, instead of resisting doing it, you do not have to encourage them to do it or insist that they do it, let alone force them to do it. Think of how much of your time and energy could be available for you to use as you wish. Helping them follow their interests is actually the one rule in action, taking care of you and your kids. I'm glad you're here. Okay. Let's see. I think we might have time to finish that one last story. Okay. But I wanted to finish that lesson for sure. For the love of the outdoors. Chuck, thanks for washing the dishes and cleaning the kitchen. Your mother called and told me she'll be late tonight. Would you help me get dinner together? Sure, Dad. I don't have too much homework tonight. Do you want help right now, or can I finish my chemistry? That should take about 20 minutes. No problem. I need a little time to change gears anyway. Where's Suzanne? She might be in her room, but she's probably down by the creek. Suzanne, your brother thought you might be down here. Have you finished your homework? Yes, but I didn't have very much today. I came to ask you to help with dinner and to ask why you're sitting here by the creek instead of straightening up the house. If we don't all help, our household won't run smoothly. I hate to be inside on such a beautiful day. I have to spend too much time inside at school. I just can't do it here too. I know I should do my chores, but I just can't. Well, what do you think we should do about this? It is a family problem if you don't do the work we're counting on you to do. I guess we should have a family meeting because I have to be outside a lot more than I get to be. That sounds like a good idea. Your mother will be home a little late today. I'd like your help to make dinner. Chuck already said he'd help me. I'd really like to eat outside. I don't see that that's a problem if you'll set up for dinner and move everything inside when we're done. Sure, I'll do that. Shall we have our meeting right here after dinner is cleared away? Sure, Dad, I'll help Suzanne. We can all help. It'll be more fun and get done sooner. Thanks, Mom. Well, I guess I sort of called this meeting, at least it mostly has to do with me. I love to be outside. At school, I have to spend most of the time inside. At home, I need to spend as much time outside as I can. That's hard when I have chores inside. Sometimes I just don't do the chores because I really need to be outside. It's especially good for me to be by the creek. Well, honey, I'm glad you're so clear about what you need and that you are taking care of yourself. Thanks, Mom. It seems we have to figure this out, how your needs can mesh with the needs of the family or the other way around. I've been thinking about this, Dad, and I've been thinking about this since Dad and I had that little talk down by the stream. Maybe I could just do outside jobs. I could work in the garden and do yard work. I could wash the car and keep the front porch steps and sidewalks swept. The rest of you could do the inside work. We could eat outside more often. And when we do, I can set up and clean up like I did tonight. It seems like a lot of work, but since I'll be outside, I want to give it a try. You'll have to teach me how to do some of the gardening and yard work. This sounds good to me. We'll teach you what you need to know. We could start our new jobs tomorrow. Tomorrow, you can sweep the front and wash the car after I get home. This weekend, we can teach you what you need to know to take care of the garden and the yard. Let's plan to meet again the following weekend to see if this is working out for all of us, or if any adjustments need to be made. Sounds like a plan. Sounds fine to me, Dad. I'm going to finish my homework. Thanks, all of you, for being such an understanding family. I feel really lucky. I feel really lucky to have all of you as my family. I'd like to have a family hug before we go off. Me too, Mom. I think we're a great team. Now I'm going to wash the dishes and straighten the house. I'll help you, honey. Is there a problem if I go down to the creek and write in my diary? I really have a lot to think about. No problem. See you later. Okay. Stop share. Okay. It's time to go. I wish everyone a great week, and be sure to go check out my website, join the membership for only $1.99. Go to www.happykidsco.org. Okay, wish you all well.